Young Leo is searching for his sneakers on a school trip when one of his classmates, Jennifer, requests to do an interview. She is a reporter for the school newspaper and wants to record the students' experience on the trip with the assistance of her camera assistant, Patty. Married man Leo can't talk much, as he has a crush on Jennifer, but Marlon, a group troublemaker, interrupts the interview. The boy picks up Leo's shoe, but he does not give it back to him, but instead throws it to his friends until Jennifer solves the problem and catches the shoe in the air. Now she can continue the interview, but in the midst of the confusion, Patty ended up dropping the camera out the window. The parents take all the students home, except for Leo, who has to ride home on his bike. He passes the ice cream stall owner, who asks the boy when he will get a new bike. Leo says he hopes to get a new one from his father, Armin, tomorrow, as it will be his 12th birthday. But Armin has undergone many changes since the death of his wife and is now an unemployed ufologist who spends his days studying aliens. When Leo gets home, he puts everything back in order, cooks, cleans up the garbage and the mess. After tidying the whole house, he goes to talk to his father, saying that he's making a cake because tomorrow will be a very important day. However, Armin doesn't even remember his son's birthday and continues looking through his telescope, searching for extraterrestrial life. Despite all this, at dawn, Leo prepares his own cake and lays the table, hoping his father will remember his birthday. When Armin gets to the kitchen, he tells Leo that he has something special to show him. The boy eagerly waits for a present, but Armin tells him that readings from his alien detector suggest that there may be an invasion. Leo is already fed up with his father's conduct, and it gets worse, because Armin sees two alien faces through the window and chases after them. With his freeze gun, the man tries to capture the aliens, but instead ends up freezing a pigeon that was on the roof. The man is not happy, so he takes the megaphone and begins to shout in the street, asking all to stay in their houses as aliens have invaded the city. But he soon finds out that they were two twin brothers in alien masks to frighten him. This and other reasons make Armin a laughingstock in the neighborhood, and everyone thinks he's not capable of caring for his own son. But the ufologist could be right. After all, in outer space, a spaceship is speeding towards the Earth. It contains aliens of different species, including three friends, Loopy, Mog and Nub, who are studying Earth via their TV shows. They search through a few sources and discover a commercial promoting the Nubby Dubby, an automatic massage mat. The three have never seen anything like it before, and they are thrilled and decide to go down to the planet to purchase one. Meanwhile, Leo goes to school for another day and thinks of how he can give Jennifer a piece of his cake. However, Marlon bothers the boy again, taking the cake by surprise and eating it all in front of him. Leo gets so furious that he jumps towards the demented boy, but Marlon's classmates grab him and throw him in the trash can. Soon after, the school principal comes to talk to Leo and introduces him to Mrs. Deacondaker, a specialist in troubled children. He claims that he employed her to care for Leo because his neighbors said that his father was neglecting his son. Mrs. Deacondaker starts to study the boy and begins to gather his tears with a mysterious pen, which can measure how sad he is. Upon seeing the result, she recommends that Leo be taken to Casa del Sol, her shelter for troubled children. The director likes the idea, but decides to give Armin a chance to explain himself at this afternoon's parent-teacher meeting. However, if he doesn't come, Leo will be sent to the House of Sun and his father could lose custody. After school, Leo is in a hurry and runs home and calls his father, who is sleeping on the sofa. If his father doesn't attend the meeting, he will be taken to a shelter, but Armin stayed up all night looking for aliens and went back to sleep. The boy is running out of options when he hears strange sounds coming from the alien detector. The signal becomes more and more intense, and when Leo opens the window curtain, he notices a flying saucer flying in front of his house. Loopy is in charge of the craft and decides to try the laser beam and writes a message in the cornfield. Mog tells him to stop before someone sees them, and the three start fighting, causing the ship to fly uncontrollably all over the place. The flying saucer eventually settles at a gas station that is empty, and when Leo is closer to the aliens, he realizes that they are not fictional. In the end, his father was right after all, and the boy tries to go back home and warn him, but accidentally steps on a twig. The aliens hear the sound, and Nup asks them who the boy is, threatening to attack him with his weapons. However, Mog tells his friend to calm down and says that they landed on the planet because they're looking for a massage mat called Nubby Dubby. Leo sees that the aliens are harmless and introduces himself to Nup, Mog and Loopy, who asks him to help them locate the mat. The boy agrees, but first, they need to hide their flying saucer, so the four of them lock it in a barn. Then the group goes outside onto the street where they see Mr. and Mrs. Winter, Marlon's parents, walking out of their home with their daughter. The aliens, having a gelatinous body, try to find the massage mat inside, and are able to get through the letterbox in the door. Leo attempts to call them, but first he heads home and tells his father the news. The boy takes the bucket from under the leaking roof and bathes the demented man, while Armin sleeps. The guy wakes up in a panic and Leo asks his father what he would do if he actually met aliens. However, Armin's response isn't very positive, as he believes that aliens are dangerous, and if he encountered them, he would trap them with his ice gun. Hearing this, Leo decides it's best to keep everything a secret, and even hides the alien detector inside the trash can. Immediately afterwards, the boy receives a call from the principal, asking if Leo's father can attend a meeting at the school. But Armin falls asleep on the sofa and Leo attempts to make up a story, but the principal states that he will be coming to his house to talk to him face to face. Meanwhile, the three aliens are enjoying themselves in the Winters' home, and they switch on the TV to watch the massage mat commercial. As soon as they find it, they call the number from the ad, but there are only 11 units of the mat left. Not knowing how to use the phone, the aliens panic until Leo appears outside the house and they ask for his help. With the help of the boy, the three are able to purchase the final Nubby Dubby from the ad, and in return, Leo tells them that he needs them for something very important. The school principal will be visiting his house, and if it is not in order, he will be taken to a shelter. The aliens readily offer to help when suddenly, they hear the sound of approaching footsteps. The four hide behind the sofa and see the house cleaner, who begins to tidy up the entire living room. The group then runs down the stairs, but the cleaner hears several footsteps and runs to see what is going on. Upon arriving at the bathroom, she finds her employers inside and becomes suspicious as they had just left with her daughter. In fact, those are Mog and Nub, who, with their shape-shifting powers, manage to pass themselves off as the couple. They then reply that they've returned to take a quick shower and tell the cleaning lady to continue cleaning. The woman believes the ruse and goes to the living room, where she finds the family's little dog sitting in a chair. She immediately starts petting him, but the dog reveals itself to be Loopy, who can't keep up the disguise. The cleaning lady is so scared she faints on the spot, and Leo decides it's best for everyone to go hide in his house. But what they didn't expect was that Marlon was still there, and the boy invited his friends to a party over the phone at his house. Unfortunately, this time Mog and Nub disguised themselves as his parents and grounded the boy for trying to throw a party in secret. After locking Marlon in the room, Leo looks at the clock and realizes it's almost time for the principal to arrive. The trio of aliens has an idea, because they have to think of a way to stop Leo from being taken away. They quickly lock the cleaning lady in the cleaning room and replace Leo's house number plate with Marlon's. Moreover, they hung a sign on the wall of the adjacent house with Armin's name on the front that read urologist instead of ufologist. The director and Mrs. Dickendaker go to the wrong house with the aliens disguised as Armin and two cleaning ladies. Minutes later, the specialist then enters the house and starts to assess the home to see if the setting is appropriate for the care of a child. Despite all being in order, the director is still suspicious, as the neighbors had reported that Armin's house was a pigsty and that all he did was sleep and hunt aliens. But the fake Armin denies it and tells everyone that he's lost interest in aliens and is only concerned with his son's education. As the director and Mrs. Dickendaker slowly begin to believe the tale, they hear loud music emanating from the room. The aliens, disguised as cleaning ladies, go to deal with the matter, and upon arriving at Marlon's room, they throw his stereo away and tell him to behave. The scared boy does what he's told and the inspection goes on, and in the house across the street, Armin sleeps on the sofa. He wakes up, though, with a smell of smoke, and he looks into the fireplace and sees the trash can burning and his alien detector. He soon discovers that the machine is overloaded with the alien signal telling him that the creatures are very close. Back at the Winter house, the director says that the inspection is almost complete, but first, he needs to take a look in Leo's room. The boy doesn't know what to do, and leads the two down a hallway, past the bathroom and the room where the cleaning lady is tied up. Finally, Leo reaches the last door in the hallway, and upon opening it, he finds himself in a girl's room. Mrs. Dickendaker cannot stand it any longer and confronts the boy and makes him tell the truth. Leo then reveals that it is not his room, but his sister's, as his father is building a new room in the attic of the house. The boy also says that Armin is a gift father, always playing with him and making his favorite meal, as his mother did. The director and the specialist don't know, but Leo is talking about the past, when his mother was alive and Armin was a devoted father. The boy's words move the principal and Mrs., and they decide to end the inspection, leaving Leo with his father. But as they are about to leave the house, they catch a glimpse of the true Armin, with his freeze gun and yelling at the alien. When they realize that the trick is on, Leo and his friends run away from the house and go to the skate park. As they walk, Jennifer is doing another newspaper article, but the boy doesn't have time to speak and the group runs off towards the sewer. The director and Mrs. Dickendaker continue to follow them and the group flees through the tunnels until they come across a locked door. The aliens manage to get through easily, but Leo is locked on the other side. Then, Mog makes a key for him with his finger and assists him. The director comes up to them a few seconds later and proposes to go around, but the specialist is more powerful than he anticipated, and he is able to push open the bars of the door. Then, Leo and the aliens go up the shaft and back to the city where they find a shop in the mall and hide inside. After losing Mrs. Decken Daker, Flop decides it's best to leave Earth and return to the ship as soon as possible. Then Leo asks if he can come along, since he has no reason to stay on the planet, and he doesn't want to be taken to a shelter. Flop doesn't think this is a good idea as the ship's captain won't like seeing an Earthling on the crew, but Mog and Loopy want to assist the boy and persuade their friend to take the concept. This makes Leo happy and Loopy wants to welcome the new crew member by drinking multiple bottles of soda. But the extra gas makes the demented beast puff up and he soon burps and startles a little girl who was shopping. The group then attempts to disguise themselves and hide in the aisles as they take food for the journey. However, the director and the specialist reappear and Mog throws the shopping cart at them. Leo and the aliens continue to flee, but they encounter Jennifer, who orders the boy to explain what's happening. But the aliens snatch the boy and carry him over the roof of the market and conceal him in a beauty salon in the mall. The director and Mrs. Dickendecker go after them, but upon arriving at the salon, the hairdressers mistake them for customers and forcibly put them in the chair. As the two are getting their hair done, the aliens take the chance to get away and go back to the barn, while Leo does. As soon as they pick up the flying saucer, the four go into the cramped cabin and Mog starts the engine, but the saucer doesn't start. The alien attempts to find out what has happened, but without realizing that Jennifer and Patty are there, watching all along. Lastly, Mog completes the repairs, but instead of repairing the ship, he completely disassembles it. Loopy and Flop start arguing with him, but Leo tells the three to stop, saying they need to find another solution quickly. Then Mog suggests to the boy to contact the mothership with a communicator and the boy recalls his father's radio in the attic. The four hurry up there and upon arriving in the attic, they find old drawings by Armin on the mural. One of them shows the ufologist, still a child, being chased by a creature similar to a dinosaur. But Mog takes a closer look at the drawing and says that it's not a dinosaur, it's an alien from a very dangerous race. While he is still trying to provide more information, Mog manages to link the communicator and calls for help. The captain replies and tells them the location of an isolated place called Dragon Peak, where he will meet them in 48 minutes. Then Leo heads to pack his things, but before he does, he writes a goodbye letter to his dad and leaves it on the table. Then he goes back to the attic, but shortly after Armin comes to the house and finds the letter on the table. Before he can read, he hears noises coming from the attic and climbs the stairs, holding his freeze gun. Reaching the top, he doesn't see that the aliens have hidden in the ceiling and continues searching for them until someone rings the doorbell. Armin discovers the cleaning woman from the next door house on the other side of the door, who tells him that something is amiss with her employers. The two continue talking and Leo takes the opportunity to run away from home when he sees a car in the Winters' garage. He tells everyone to go inside, but the aliens don't know how to drive a car. Then Mog and Flop disguise themselves as Marlin's parents again and call the boy over, telling him that they have forgiven him for his punishment. The two then invite him on a family trip and they've invited a friend from school, none other than Leo. All this is strange to Marlin, but his parents let him drive and without hesitation, the boy agrees to go. The group is now ready and they drive down the road, and Marlin's real parents go home. When Mr. Winter sees Armin's license plate at the gate, he thinks it must be a joke, and he decides to go and confront his neighbor. Soon, however, the family is surrounded by a number of reporters called by Armin to reveal the existence of aliens. The ufologist says that, according to the cleaning lady, her employers are aliens capable of assuming the form of any human being. In order to prove it, Armin punches Mr. Winter in the stomach, but he finds he is a real human being. The man gets angry, but before a fight ensues, Mr. Winter notices that Marlin is not home. The next door neighbor claims he spotted the boy who left in the car with Leo and a very familiar couple. He also heard something about Dragon Peak and fearing that something bad might happen, Mr. and Mrs. Winter decide to go after their son along with Armin. Shortly thereafter, the director and Mrs. Deacondaker also join the cast and upon hearing the entire tale, they agree to come along. Next, Mr. Winter instructs everyone to enter his car, but the front tire is flat. A delivery truck suddenly appears with the massage mat that the aliens bought. Without hesitation, Mrs. Deacondaker storms into the truck and orders everyone inside to go after the boys and the alien. The crazy woman drives at full speed, and after several minutes, she finally reaches the car, which is driving up the street towards the top. After a few seconds, Mrs. Decken Dacre speeds up until she catches up to the car and tells Marlon to stop pushing the car against the wall. Suddenly, a truck comes from the opposite direction, forcing Mrs. Decken Dacre to swerve off the road and into a corral. Nevertheless, the specialist rushes to get the car back on the road and follows the car, while Armin becomes more and more concerned about his son. He recalls the letter left behind by Leo and finds out that his son is going to elope with the alien. Meanwhile, Leo and the others continue to Dragon Peak, but Marlon demands to know what's going on. The boy then reveals that those aren't Marlon's real parents, but rather aliens from space. As expected, Marlon thinks Leo is as crazy as his father, but suddenly, Jennifer appears in the trunk of the car saying that this isn't true. She has been watching them all along, and she tells him that Leo is a special boy, the first human to contact alien. The girl surprises Leo with her attitude, and then Moop, Floop, and Lupai show themselves in their true form, causing Marlon to panic. The boy releases the steering wheel, but Leo says, "Take it easy, keep driving." Finally, they arrive at Dragon Peak and Marlon asks what they came there to do, with Leo explaining his plan to go with the aliens and their mothership. Jennifer asks why the boy is going to do this, and Leo tries to explain when Mrs. Decken Dacre and the rest of the group arrive at the scene. Then Armin takes the freeze gun to Leo, but instead of attacking the aliens, he shows them the letter the boy wrote. Armin wonders why he should leave, and the boy says that his father never paid him any attention, only cared about work. He didn't even know it's his birthday today, and Armin apologizes that his son has always been the most important thing in his life. The boy is surprised by his father's attitude, but Mrs. Decken Dacre doesn't believe him and takes the freeze gun from Armin. She tells the boy she's going to take him by force, but suddenly the ice cream vendor appears and points a laser gun at her. All are befuddled, but the man introduces himself as Stu, an alien and member of the galaxy's heroic squad. He also uncovers that Mrs. Decken Dacre is an alien who takes children's tears to sell for a good price. Then Stu tells her that she's been arrested, but just as she says, Mrs. Decken Dacre starts to turn into a monster. Armin suddenly realizes that it is the same thing that he drew in his childhood. The monster lunges at him and he takes the freeze gun and shoots the monster. The monster manages to escape the ice and lunges at the boy, who attempts to run away but slips into a hole and drops the gun. Armin and the others jump over the monster and tie it down, but the monster starts to grow more arms and escapes from them. Then it goes in search of Leo, with the boy finding his alien friends and hiding in a bush. But the beast soon discovers the boy and pursues him until he ends up in a dead end. The monster is about to attack, but the boy manages to squeeze through a small gap in the wall and turns out to be one of the disguised aliens. The monster becomes angry and climbs the mountain peak to get to him, but the actual Leo is behind him with the freeze gun. The boy shoots the creature with the gun at full power and it is paralyzed. At last the threat was quelled and Armin hugged his son, happy he was safe. Even Marlon, and especially Jennifer, congratulated the boy on his courage, and Stu thanked him for his help, saying that the creature would be taken to an intergalactic trial. Lastly, Leo thanks his alien friends, who ask him to join them on their spaceship. However, the boy decides to stay as he doesn't want to abandon his father and friends, and the aliens understand his decision, wishing him good luck. The three are ready to board the ship with the abduction beam, but the delivery man tells them that he has a special order. Lastly, they get their much-coveted massage mat and return to the mothership with the hope of seeing Leo again soon. After proving the existence of aliens, Jennifer decides to make a report with Armin, calling him an expert on the topic. Finally, he has the chance to have his value recognized, but instead, Armin prefers to deal with more important matters. So, the next day he invites Leo for a ride around town on his new bicycles. The boy is very happy with the gift, and over the next couple of days, Armin makes friends with his neighbors, who help him renovate his house, and he writes a book about Alien. Leo, on the other hand, doesn't feel so lonely anymore, and each night he gazes at the stars with Jennifer, hoping that his alien friends will come back someday. Subscribe to watch more videos like this, leave a comment about your favorite movie, and we will make it next. Thanks for watching.